I call Andrew Bailey.
Thank you, Mr Chair. I just want to dwell a little bit on the issue of the veterans that Mr Nash has been talking about for some time. Just the real essence of this bill is about introducing changes to the Income Tax Act and the Kiwisaver Act to deal with some discrepancies around how the taxation of the income replacement payments to New Zealand veterans are made. It's essentially about tidying up some of the components in that, and the proposed amendments will make it quite clear that the veteran income replacement payments are treated in the same way as ACC payments are made or interpreted for the purposes of tax, social policy and Kiwisaver. So they're quite minor in terms of their actual drafting, but they are just important little components to try and tidy up those aspects. But what I'd really like to turn my mind to, Mr Chair, is the whole issue about the rest of this Act, which is, of course, about helping the 90,000 lower income and middle income New Zealanders acquire their first home. And of course, it's a package of measures. There's the 35,000 that's available for people who've contributed to New Zealand Super for a period of 5 years. That, together with the Kiwisaver grant of 20,000, means that there's potentially a 55,000 deposit available that people can join with their own savings to meet the minimum requirement for the acquiring their new homes. And one of the things I've heard quite a lot from the opposition is about the lack of supply, and I spoke about this briefly last night, and just if I could have a moment on this, Mr Chair. There are 100 special housing zones across the country. There's 80 in Auckland. I've got 2 of them in my electorate in Hanua. The big one, of course, which I think is actually the biggest in the country, which is the Wesley property development, which will contribute between 4,000 and 4,500 homes, and another one just down the road about 2 kilometres, which will deliver another 700 homes. But the opposition has continuously claimed that houses are not being built, and factually that is totally incorrect. And I was very disappointed to hear some of the earlier speakers tonight talk about this. I would just invite them to fly to Auckland, hire a car, and drive out to my electorate. And if they stopped at the first place, which is Mission Heights, which is the area coming down to Flatbush, I've got 1,300 homes there. Every day a house has been completed there. And if you carry it over the hill, probably another 15-minute drive, you get to Maraetai Beachlands. The population there at the moment is 8,800 and will increase to 17,500 by 2021. And there is just vast areas where the diggers, the loaders, the bulldozers have been in, clearing sites. Those sections are available for sale, and there's an avalanche of new sections coming on for sale. Same in Clevedon, another good part of my electorate, 700 homes. Go to Pukekohe East, and there's a potential 10,000 sections in Pukekohe. So this claim from the opposition that there is not new houses being built and not new sections taking place, that is just not right. And in fact, the problem for my electorate is we're going to have equivalent a new Hamilton in our electorate over the next 30-odd years, and I've got a council that doesn't actually have a lot of money to be able to support that infrastructure. Now, Labor particularly seem myopically focused on the government building new homes. I just want to talk about this for a second. Just in terms of the total new builds in New Zealand, the government actually accounts for only 1% of all the new home builds in New Zealand. 1%. The top 20 house builders in New Zealand actually account for 25%. The vast majority of new houses in New Zealand are built by 1, 2, 3 person building firms, and that's why we need to create the environments to ensure that they can build houses. And when the opposition continuously talk about creating new houses, they're the people who are going to deliver it, those 1, 2, 3 person businesses. Now, in terms of the home ownership, we were briefed at the Finance and Expenditure Committee by the Reserve Bank Governor on this issue. The long-term 10-year average for first home buyers is approximately 19% of all homes purchased in New Zealand. Even after the LVR changes, that is still at 17%, i.e. within a statistical error of margin.
I'll call Chris Hipkins.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair, and I'm happy to take a brief call on this bill, slightly sooner than I had anticipated, but I am very happy